Do we want to let Jameis out of the grill? Is he's trying to climb out? We heard him rattling around earlier.
Yeah, he was.
Is he going to emerge from the grill with the Browns?
Like, are they going to make the playoffs?
Yeah, or come close, maybe be in the conversation.
Oh, so if it's in the conversation, then no more cooked than the Bengals, no less cooked than the Bengals.
Yeah.
It's all just teams that are probably.
Hey, we're not talking about the Bengals.
I'm just making sure.
You about the Browns.
If I'm going to be consistent, I'm going to say they're not mathematically eliminated. He's not dead yet, but like, if they play another team that might have more healthy guys in the secondary,
guys
they were down
with some clamps.
They were down Nate Wiggins. They were down Humphrey, and it really might have been God, dude, because the balls that were being dropped.
What did he say before the game?
Unwavering faith.
No, it's the pin.
There's 50 guys in a prayer circle every week. Half of them have low PFF grades. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how many times I prayed in the shower before St. Louis Rams game? Was that like a dead spot for cell service for God? Like, all of a sudden, you're telling me that because Jameis Winston was like a preacher pregame, that like that's why? I just don't. Sorry. I don't think God. I think God has too much to worry about right now.
Well, I don't like you. Jameis,
I'm worried about.
Jameis is a real preacher in real life. He preaches at churches, man.
I understand.
And he threw that. Those pass.
Sermons are probably lit.
Yeah,
they're probably amazing.
He's closer. He's closer to the man.
And I was excited to see them get that win. But I'm just telling you, like it just like what gives, man? I used to sit there and hold hands with Steve Spagnuolo every week in the shower on a knee, and we never won. You know. Like, so I don't know.
Jameis did say when he threw that ball to Kyle Hamilton, the ball, it was in the air and Kyle was kind of bobbling it.
Mm-hmm.
Jameis said, I threw it and I prayed. I immediately was praying.
I watched him too. I watched to see if he was praying, and all he did was start running towards the sideline to tackle Kyle Hamilton. Was he praying while he was running?
Mm-hmm.
And somebody in the chat's going to be, you're making light of God. No, I'm not. It's football, man. I just don't. I'm not one of those people that thinks God's like, all right, let me get my parlay to hit here.
Yeah, no,
it needs to
definitely
be
not.
So, anyways, secondary was in shambles. Down Humphrey, down Wiggins. They benched Marcus Williams. Eddie Jackson had like probably one of the worst games you see a safety play this year. I mean, and I love Eddie Jackson from his days with the Bears, but like, it doesn't look the same. And, you had multiple drop picks. You talk about that from Eddie alone. He got dunked on by Njoku. He gave up the game winner late. Kyle Hamilton, you talked about that, the pick late, but also the pick in the end zone. I mean, 10 points basically on him. And I don't mean to say it that way because I think he's all world. He's the reason they're even winning games, right, on defense. But that's tough. And where's the pass rush for this group? These are troubling themes that are coming up for the Ravens. When they get the guys in secondary back, they'll be a lot better, but Zach Gore is still having some issues, right? And so the offense, they had some bad drops too. Aguilar had a bad drop on 3rd and 5. Bateman dropped the ball so bad at midfield. It was a seed, went like 40 yards. It must have broke 3 of his fingers, bro. The way it hit his hand so fucking hard. And he just laid there and dudes are standing over him like, and I think he might have lost in the sun. Okay. But ultimately, it comes down to drive one for this team, the game-defining moment. The team that is ready for one thing. The Cleveland Browns are ready for one thing today, and that is trying to fucking kill Derrick Henry. That is like all of us, all 11 on the field, and you've been in a Jim Schwartz meeting before. Don't let him get started. And that's the way they came out, and they tried to knock his legs out before he get a full head of steam. He got going once, 39-yard run. Our guy, Juan Thornhill, survived what could have been a bad stiff arm moment. But I knew they were going to be ready when they came out the first drive. And Grant Delpit came in there, who made some really nice plays yesterday. It's fun to watch. Came in there and decleated Derrick Henry up top, took him on high, and then did this.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
He did
Little boy.
I'm like, wow. Like, y'all were
tone.
ready to play. So when Cleveland – the background is Cleveland, the one team that's done a good job against Derrick Henry, 3 yards a pop on his career. Last year, held him down. You get down 4th and 1 or whatever it is in the red zone, the first drive of the game. Let's find out if they can play from behind, shall we? No, you just run Wildcat. You take your best player on the field, and you remove him from the formation, like that to me is not a great moment. That's not a great moment for Monken, and it kind of defined the rest of the game because I thought Cleveland did a pretty good job offensively. You take away those turnover-worthy throws, which did not burn them. Jameis Winston, confident, doesn't care. Cedric Tillman, been huge for them. Cedric Tillman's been really big for them. He's really tough, too. He took a big shot from Roquan Smith in this game on one of the last drives on 2nd and 7.
Mm-hmm.
Just allowed them to keep going, holding on to that ball. And then, overcoming the change in play caller in a week. Like, I didn't know what Ken Dorsey would look like, with Jameis Winston out there. And they mixed it up a pretty good bit. A couple different drives, couple different flavors. One drive was kind of take what you can get. And then the next drive, you're running the ball, going play action off of it. Great drives out of the half. And so I think like good sign coming out with a good game plan, but also good sign coming out of the half with like a plan and some versatility. I thought it was a pretty good day from them.
And
offensive line probably played better too.
Takeaways. I got 2 takeaways from this game, Chris.
Yeah.
The first one is I think Stefanski's a good coach. I think he's put in a very tough situation, obviously, leading into this game with the quarterback play over the course of the season up to this point, and it like people coach of the year, man, for a reason. Like he's a good coach. Like this is a good team win for them. So that's the first thing. It's probably such a relief for Stefanski to get a win with a different quarterback. Like what a good feeling that is for him. And then the other thing is, this is a little bit of a question for the gang here in the studio: are the Ravens cooked? What do you think?
No, the Broncos next week. They're fucked.
The Ravens are far from cooked.
Yeah,
but it is going to be damn interesting.
Ravens aren't cooked, Nate.
That Ravens Baltimore game or the Ravens Denver game is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I don't think the Ravens are cooked, not at all. I think honestly this was kind of not a trap game for them, but I'm a cape for the Ravens a little bit. Like no one knew really how Jameis was going to play, how that offense was going to look. So I'm caping for them a little bit with that, but the Ravens always scare me because it's just like they're known to play down to their competition in games.
They generally do, but this game I feel like when you can take Derrick Henry away, relatively speaking,
even
like
it
really
out.
Does level things out a little bit. And Lamar at the end of the game was damn near spectacular. Getting this game to and really they ended up giving Cleveland too much time.
Yeah,
like,
they're 6th in the wild card right now, and a Russell Wilson-led Steelers team is leading their division by a half a game, and they play the Giants tonight.
But they still have the second best Super Bowl odds in the league.
Yeah,
with the Lions,
the Ravens. Yeah,
they are far from cooked.
No, I just think it's a deal where it's like, hey, if this defense is going to be an issue, and now you're asking Lamar to outscore people, it's like year after year. It's like, hey, last year we abandoned the run game. This year we lose a bunch of guys on defense, and all of a sudden our identity changes in that way. The offense, when it's rolling, is as scary as any in the league. I mean, this is one team that you better hope, and they probably don't make the playoffs, but like there's not a lot of teams that can match up well with the Ravens. If they play their best ball.
If you're the Ravens, and before we get to the Bills, if you're the Ravens, who would you go make a trade for on defense? Who would you go get?
I would go get a rusher, I think, because as many little pieces as they have, and I don't mean to like diminish the guys they have. Like I think Kyle Van Noy has been great for them. Owe's got to be consistent, right? Did Ajabo play yesterday? I feel like he was a healthy scratch. So like you're looking and you bring in Ngakoue, you're throwing a lot of bodies at it. I think the biggest thing that they suffered from early in the season was looking at the linebacker, second linebacker in coverage. But the secondary as well now with the way they're banged up. Like, take your pick. The defense is just not scary like it wasn't before.
Who could they get though? Like Clowney? I'm trying to think of like
44 from Jacksonville.
Trayvon Walker. We've already kind of gone through the rushes that I think should be Arden Key, who he'd probably be another person that like the Ravens might not think he makes a difference. Ironically, maybe the Lions are like, I don't want to spend big. Maybe it's an Arden Key type guy.
Maybe
Granderson.
Up there.
And Ojabo was a healthy scratch yesterday.
So, there's a few things that they could probably use. I know that they weren't interested in Devontae Adams. They liked the guys they had outside. That was never going to be a thing. So it kind of makes me think they're going to stand pat at wide receiver. One thing about them that people don't talk about right now is like they forget Keaton Mitchell exists. When he comes back, that's going to add another element to this offense. So, Cleveland is just fucking good defensively. Like when they are on and their offense isn't just messing it up for them, like they play fast up front. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Big Z is a guy that, they would love to have a Big Z, Big Z's 32 years old. After that win, is Cleveland going to hang on to him? Are they going to hold off on selling, try to win another game? But there are guys out there, but they're just with Max Crosby not being available, as Mark Davis said, in all caps.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All first letter caps.
I think you're going to look at a lot of guys who are maybe not spectacular answers for these teams. But somebody's got, if somebody wants the home run hitter, I think it's going to be a race to one of a couple guys. If there are certain guys available, like if Trayvon Walker's on your wish list, go out and do it right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because I think like there's a couple teams that need rushers this year. So
it could be, you mentioned Chase Young a couple weeks ago, going back to the Washington. He could check out the other team in the DMV area.
Yeah. No, I like Chase Young, but I those other names, I feel like I'd be more on top of, or, just I would just keep an eye on, what's going on around the league, who wants what, and try to beat a team to the punch, because like I would hate to, like, if I'm one of these teams that needs a rusher, to strike out trying to beat Coy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing that can keep you from getting to where you need to go. And I talked about it with Atlanta. Atlanta might be more sound defensively than Baltimore.
Mhm.
It's just when I say, hey, I'm putting a ceiling on Atlanta but not Baltimore so much, it's because Baltimore's got that much better of a quarterback, and they've got Derrick Henry, and they have a way of doing things offensively. They got two really good tight ends. I don't know why, if that makes sense to people listening, that I don't put a ceiling on Baltimore as much as I do on Atlanta on account of the defense. But I think for Baltimore, it's the guys that they have in the building performing better in January, like including Lamar.
Yeah.
So,
You want to go out
real quick? I just think it's so interesting. You watch a team like the Browns, okay? Just one thing I love about the NFL is like just the parity. All right, these teams are all so good with so many talented players, and to just have a different quarterback come in, like the team played, it seemed to me like with so much more energy, and so like they played hard as hell.
yeah,
Right. And it's like, if you just have like something as intangible as like just a little bit of hope, or just a little bit of a different situation to get you out of this shithole that you've kind of had thus far in the season, it's just wild how different to me your football team can look. And that's all. And we make a lot of jokes about Jameis, and like he is what he is. Like he does give hilarious speeches, and he is a bit of a character and stuff like that. But he played well, man. He had 3 touchdowns, 334 yards. And obviously, like, he could have had some picks too, but that's Jay Boo, baby.
yeah.
It's just so fun to me to see how different the same exact team can be, the same exact players, if they just have that, that little je ne sais quoi, just a
Je ne sais
little bit of
quoi.
hope.
That's it.
It's so good. And that's what I love about football.
The je ne
The
sais
coach,
quoi.
the coach should break out the 1-0 theory. You just gotta worry about going 1-0. Hey, it's a new team.
Yeah.
If we go 1-0 from here on out, we could worry about the playoffs and all that later. But if we just focus on going 1-0, like, it doesn't matter who we play in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or the division. Like, this team, we're starting over, new quarterback. The locker room attitude is probably different. The culture probably feels different now that whole situation is kind of out of the picture now and has no reason to, like, come back in. So it's just you can rally behind it.
You can rally behind it, for sure.
It's not a lot,
sure.
but you definitely can rally behind it.
For sure. I think in the NFL, they're like, if you get, it's reinforced to you every week that you're not a good team. If it's reinforced to you every week that people hate you, they don't want you to win. If it's
What have you done for
reinforced
me
to you every
lately?
week that the distraction is bigger than the team, if it's reinforced to you every week that, like, you don't even know if you're trying to win, like, because it doesn't feel like trying to win trotting Deshaun Watson out there for half the season.
Yeah.
It seems like trying to justify your mistake.
Yeah.
And now you've turned the page. You've washed your hands of it. Even though the people that made the decision still have to live with the decision they made on a couple of levels, the guys in the locker room can show up to work on Sunday and say, hey, it feels good. Like it does feel like we have a chance, and that's that. Football's so mental. Bo talked about it. I mean, to come in and you could see Jameis through all of his 5 speeches pregame, guys were locked in.